So it is officially nearing the end of 2024, which is crazy to say because this year has gone by so quickly. I feel like it was yesterday that I filmed my 10 best and worst movies of the year, and for 2023 at least. And yeah, this has been an insane year. There's been a lot of bangers in terms of movies and a lot of really big stinkers in terms of movies. So today, in this video, we're going to be going over some of my absolute favorites and my least favorite films of the entire year. How's it going, everyone? I'm Mike, and welcome back to the channel. And today we are going to be, as I said, going over my favorite and least favorite films of 2024. I think I'm probably just going to start things off with the negatives, honestly, just to get them out of the way because, don't like to be a Debbie Downer. So, yep. And also, I just want to say as well, you know, it's the end of the year and happy holidays, everyone, because by the time you guys are seeing this, I will be out on vacation and I will probably not be seeing my most anticipated film of the year, at least by the time I'm filming this. Obviously, I haven't seen it yet, which is Nosferatu, and I have been so excited for that movie, and I have a feeling it could end up being like really high up there on my list. So, if it does end up being really high up on the list, I will of course make a short video, discussing it, and yeah, you guys will see my thoughts on there, and I will say, where it ranks in terms of my favorites of the year. So, with that said, let's get into the worst films that I saw in 2024. So, kicking things off, I just want to mention you had movies like Borderlands, you had Madam Web, Craven the Hunter, and Horizon, the American Saga Chapter 1, which I really did not like any of those films. Obviously, Madam Web and Craven have very many issues. They didn't quite crack my 10 worst just because I find them rather enjoyable. Even though I don't I don't think they're good movies at all. And then Horizon, I really didn't like at all, and Borderlands, snooze fest of a film. So let's get into the bottom of the barrel films of the year. So Joker Folie à Deux is probably my most disappointing film of the entire year. A film that is so devoid of anything that the first film was so good at, and it goes for like the musical approach, which I don't enjoy musicals all that much, and like I just I don't think it added anything to the movie, honestly. Joaquin Phoenix, he was fine. Lady Gaga was fine. I really liked Brendan Gleeson in it, and there's some cinematography in it that was pretty good. But really, other than that, the film is just so drab and boring. It's so long, and just like I was struggling to stay awake watching the movie, honestly. I think that the ending is absolutely unforgivable. As a huge fan of the first film, honestly, it makes the first film worse after watching it, and it's just a film that I hope I never have to rewatch. After that, we're going with Harold and the Purple Crayon. Oh my god, this film was the biggest joke at my work. We had like a bunch of boxes of like the magic purple crayons, and like the little like giveaway packages and whatnot, and then tons of posters, and we still haven't gotten rid of all of those because no one went to go see the movie. We just gave them away to whoever was seeing the movie. So yeah, still haven't given all of those away. I'm pretty sure we still have them in storage somewhere. So unless we just threw them out. But yeah, this film no one saw because it was terrible, not marketed at all, for a reason. It is not a good movie. I think that's enough said. Anyways, next up, Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie. Now this is the new SpongeBob film, and this is a weird movie because this film I think was initially supposed to come out on Paramount Plus, and then they pulled it and then somehow the footage got leaked like all over the internet, and I was able to watch it while it was leaked, and most people had said it was a terrible film. I agree. I did not like that movie at all. And then it went to Netflix, and I went to watch it again just to see if they changed it at all. It was the exact same movie, and this was terrible. Absolutely devoid of anything that makes SpongeBob good, and yeah, just didn't enjoy it whatsoever. Next film is a film that, if you enjoy it, I'm glad for you, but I'm not a political guy, and I don't want to get into why I dislike this film so much, but the American Society of Magical Negroes, I believe this is called, was a film that kind of just angered me because it made so many people look like just absolute buffoons, and I don't get why, this is this is what's being made nowadays in terms of like a comedy. It's just, it's not a great film at all. Kind of boring and kind of stupid. So, yeah, I really didn't enjoy it at all. Night Swim is after that. This is a film that was one of the first films of the entire year that came out. I think it was like the first weekend of the entire year. So January horror movie right there. And you can tell this is a January horror movie because, woo-wee, this was a rough movie. Right off the bat, I think all you really need to say is that it's a haunted swimming pool. If that entices you, check it out. If it doesn't, skip it. It was a rough movie. And speaking of Blumhouse, you have Imaginary, and this is a film that is so boring, so poorly acted, and a terrible twist, terrible kills, just a boring movie. I didn't enjoy it at all. And then another film that I ended up seeing in theaters, this one, and whoa, I thought it was going to be way better than it was. I was hoping I was going to enjoy it. I didn't at all. I thought it was a terrible film. The Strangers Chapter 1. Wow. I actually walked out midway through the movie and like read a plot synopsis of it and just called it a day because I thought what I read was terrible and it was exactly what happened in the first film. And then just to make sure, I was watching the right movie, I rewatched it with a couple of friends just to be rowdy as hell. And yeah, it was a terrible film, just as I thought. So yeah, I really do not like Strangers Chapter 1 whatsoever. Terrible film. And then we have Founders Day, another January horror film that was absolutely horrendous. And I don't remember really a single thing about it. Other than the killer looked kind of goofy and kind of looked like George Washington. That's really about it, and I really did not like that movie at all. Next up, we have Tarot. This is the runner-up for worst film of the year. Tarot, man, this movie was god-awful. Other than the creature designs being kind of cool, this film was so rough to sit through. First of all, it's a PG-13 horror movie, so obviously there's nothing worth mentioning about this film that's like, cool kills or anything like that. This film is just so boring, man. It's got the lamest kills I think I've ever seen. Some atrocious acting, atrocious cinematography. The dialogue is horrendous. Just absolutely a boring film that I don't think I'll ever be watching again easily. So, yep, that is my runner-up for least favorite film of the year. And my number one least favorite film of the year, without question, is Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate. Now, I love the original Megamind. I think that film is awesome. And I was kind of looking forward to Doom Syndicate, even though it was looking kind of cheap. And this was very much just a cash grab. They announced it so last second, and it was supposed to premiere for a TV show. It was supposed to be like the pilot for a Peacock original Megamind show. which I've also heard is terrible. I just haven't even watched it because I don't give a singular shit about it. Um, but yeah, Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate. Whew. Terrible, terrible movie. I don't think anything else has to be said. Just cheap. Voice acting is horrible, and it doesn't make any sense at all. So, going into the best of the year, I just want to give a ton of mentions to some films that might not make it on here that I really enjoyed. So, you have Kill, which is a Indian film. I believe it was like the first ever Bollywood film to be picked up by an American studio, which is awesome, and very deservedly so. I think it's an awesome film. Next up, we have The Beekeeper, which is like one of the only movies that came out in January that I actually really enjoyed. I thought it was a really fun ride, and I've watched it 2 or 3 times, and I still think it's a really fun movie. Jason Statham knows what he's in for with this movie. The movie knows that it's stupid as hell, and it's fun while being very, very stupid. Next up, we have the Max Original Salem's Lot, which I was really thinking I wasn't going to enjoy as much as I did because it had been delayed for so long, and they finally just decided, hey, let's drop it on Max in October, and I actually really dug it. I thought it was a really fun vampire flick. It's definitely a little fast paced because it is a very long book, and it's also a very long mini series from like the 70s. And you can kind of tell that they trimmed a lot out. And still, though, I think it's a really fun little throwback vampire flick. And yeah, I think it's an awesome ride. Next up, Asriel. Now, this is a film that is zero dialogue and is basically like it's after the biblical rapture, where basically, people are it's like Judgment Day basically, and the people who believe in God and whatnot, they go up into heaven and are saved. Their souls are saved, and the other people who don't, they are left on Earth to rot basically. And these people, to relieve their sins, cut out their vocal cords, and so there's no dialogue at all, really at all that much. And this movie it's like 80 minutes long or something like that, and it is a wild ride of a film. It is led by Samara Weaving, and I think it's on Shudder right now. Yeah, it's on Shudder. Very, very fun film. If you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend it. And then Godzilla X Kong, I thoroughly enjoyed the film. I was not expecting to enjoy it as much as I did, honestly, because it was just like out of nowhere, just like came out. I honestly forgot it was coming out too. And then I went to go see it. Was supposed to go see it in 3D. I didn't go see it in 3D, but I went to go see it just like on a whim, and I had a great time with it. I thought it was awesome. So, yeah, Godzilla X Kong, really fun movie. Next up, Lisa Frankenstein. This is like one of the first films of the year that I thought was like genuinely great, and it had one of the Sprouse twins in it as basically like Frankenstein's monster, kind of sorta, and he goes into it. It's like basically it's like kind of like Hellraiser mixed with like Thelma and Louise, or not Thelma and Louise, Bonnie and Clyde. Yeah, Bonnie and Clyde and Hellraiser kind of mixed, and it is a great film. Just a super charming little movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. No said. And then kind of just like going into really where my favorites go to. So we have The Substance, a film that everyone loved this year. I loved the entire film, except for the very ending. I just didn't think it really stuck the landing. But yeah, I thought it was a great film. And then Smile 2. I love the first Smile film. I think it's a great horror film. And Smile 2, I was really looking forward to. It's the same director, just a 2-year turnaround, so they're still capitalizing on the hype. And it was another phenomenal horror film, and I think it is even better than the first film. Maybe a hot take, but I love Smile 2. Gladiator 2, I really really liked it. Um, it's nowhere near as good as the original, but it is a masterpiece in terms of cinema. Like cinema filmmaking wise, this is like a top tier film. Um, there's some choices in there that I don't quite love, but I still thought it was a great film. Boy Kills World, a movie that I knew. I think it came out at a festival last year and then premiered in theaters this year, and it looked really fun. And I was really glad my theater got it because I had a fucking blast with it. A film that I think is probably the most underrated film of the entire year, and that is Never Let Go. This is a film that is directed by Alexander Aja and stars Halle Berry, and it is basically like one of those movies that's like, do you believe or do you not believe? And it keeps it very vague whether or not what to believe is, you know, really, it's real or not. It's very cool. I really really enjoyed it. It reminded me a lot of the movie Frailty, which is one of my favorite horror films. So there's that. That was great. A Different Man. Ooh, this one was good. Sebastian Stan gives one of his best performances for sure. And then what is his name? Adam Pearson, he was great as well. Just a film filled with very good performances. My Old Ass, one of the funniest films of the year. I thought it was great. Maxine, a film that a lot of people have been hating on recently. I actually think it's a blast of a film. Yeah, I thought it was great. Roadhouse, the remake, another banger of the movie. And I remember, I think I saw this one like 3 or 4 times the week that it came out. I just had such a good time with it. The First Omen, this is a film that everyone was saying, man, this is going to be a terrible film. Oh my God, this looks so bad. And I was looking at the trailer and I was like, this doesn't look half bad, honestly. I don't know. I thought it looked actually kind of good. And then people saw it and they loved it. And I saw it too. And I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome. Beetlejuice, a film that, everyone loved this year. I don't quite love it, but I have a really good time with it. I think it's a good film. Conclave, film, probably going to get nominated for Best Picture. I thought it was a great, great movie. Ray Fiennes gives a fantastic performance. It was awesome. Caddo Lake, another super underrated film from this year. It's kind of like a time loop movie of sorts, but I don't want to say too much of what happens because I want you guys to experience this film for yourself. It is on Max. I definitely recommend. Strange Darling, a little bit of like a horror thriller kind of movie. I thought it was awesome. Very, very fun movie. The Bike Riders, really, really good drama. I think it would have benefited if it was maybe like 20, 30 minutes longer and had more time to like develop some of the bike riders themselves. But I thought it was a great movie. Rebel Ridge, one of the best action thrillers of the year. I thought it was awesome. Enough said. The Fall Guy, one of my favorite comedies of the year. Absolutely did not deserve to be a box office flop. I love that movie. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I think, has some of the best cinematography of the entire year. Love that movie. Snack Shack, probably my favorite coming of age film of the year. Probably. Kinds of Kindness, an anthology horror movie that directed by Yorgos Lanthimos that you either love or hate. It is so weird, but I loved it. I saw the TV Glow, a film, again, you're either going to love it or hate it. I really liked it. I thought it was a great film. It definitely kind of like goes into like how to put it, like a heavy hitting message in it that you can either take a little bit too much in, like they really like hammer it in for you, and I kind of liked it the first time I watched it. I didn't really bother me, but the more I thought about it, kind of bothered me a little bit. Saturday Night, a great comedy, just like goes for the experience of putting you in the shoes of the people that were in charge of Saturday Night Live. Really great. Doesn't really have like a main story or focused message in the film, which kind of knocks it back a little bit. But I definitely love the feel you get when it like goes for the experience rather than the story. Y2K, a film that I'm probably the only person on the planet that absolutely loves this film, but I love how it made me feel nostalgic for an era I didn't live in. Sonic the Hedgehog 3, I just saw this one today as of recording, and I thought it was an awesome film. I love the Sonic franchise. I love the characters, and when they announced that Shadow was supposed to be the villain 3, I was so hyped, and then they announced Keanu Reeves. So hyped, and this film was so much fan service. Loved it. I absolutely loved it. Dune Part 2, a film that would be number one on like everyone's list. But it's not on mine, just because I don't love the last 15 minutes of the film. I went into this thinking it was actually supposed to be the final half of the story, and then only to figure out that this is basically just like Empire Strikes Back, where it leaves you on a freaking cliffhanger. And also where it's getting ready to peak up in the action, just flatlines. Just gets really good, and then yeah, it just ends. I don't love it. I don't love it like some people do, but I really, really liked it. Challengers. Oh, man. One of the most compelling, like, romance sports movies I think I've ever seen, where it's just drops you in a toxic relationship, and you just, like, how it revolves around the sport of tennis. I thought it was just a great, great film. Only thing I didn't love is the way it ended again. I think it just ends really abruptly, especially because it's a tennis film and it leaves off in the middle of a tennis match, which is kind of a weird choice, but I respect it. Bad Boys Ride or Die. Oh man, this is one of the most gorgeous looking movies of the entire year. Awesome action, awesome comedy, and when is Martin Lawrence going to get his Oscar? Speak No Evil. One of my favorite horror films of the year. Such an intense little movie, and the third act is awesome when it just turns into basically a raid movie. And then we get into like the real like nitty gritty where I could probably swap any of these out like any day. So my number 12 of the year is Deadpool and Wolverine, a film that I rewatched recently, a couple days ago, and I forgot just how special it felt to me. Where you have, something like Spider-Man No Way Home, which I love parts of. I love parts of the movie. Other parts I think is let down. It just lets down a little bit because I think it's a long movie, so it kind of just feels a little long-winded in the first half of the movie where it just kind of feels boring. The second half picks up so well though. I love the second half. First half has a lot of problems. Deadpool and Wolverine, however, is a film that delivers fan service from beginning to end. And it's Deadpool. And it's entertaining. It's thoroughly entertaining, the whole movie. It's actually funny, too, unlike No Way Home. So, I love Deadpool and Wolverine. And, I'm about to make a name for myself here. Awesome movie. Transformers 1 is my number 11. This is, I'm a huge Transformers fan. I thoroughly enjoy most of the Michael Bay films outside of The Last Knight. And I grew up with Transformers. I owned a lot of the toys and whatnot. And this is just my shit. I ate this movie up. Number 10 for me is Alien Romulus. I love Fede Alvarez. I love his Evil Dead movie. And this just felt like his Evil Dead movie in the Alien universe. And I loved it. I loved how gory it got. I loved so many different aspects about the film. Just absolutely deserving of being in my top 10. My number 9 is Terrifier 3, a film that I know a lot of people have a lot of issues with, but I had such a good time watching this in the theater. It's a gory massacre of a film Art the Clown is a menace, but I think he's one of the best horror icons of all time. I Yeah, and it's definitely a film I'm going to start watching every Christmas. I think it's a great movie. Number 8 is probably the scariest film I've seen all year. That isn't even a horror movie. Probably the scariest movie I've ever seen that isn't a horror movie either, and that is Civil War. Oh man, this movie, from just like the sound design alone, is so unbelievably scary. This is a movie where they even said they try to focus the microphones a lot more on the gunshot sounds because it like in war movies or something like that where they just like there's just a ton of shooting off machine guns doesn't affect really anything. But when you focus on the sound of the gunshot, that is actually scary. Where you're watching in the theater with the speakers around you everywhere, and you just hear the loud bangs every single like place around you. It is so scary, and you feel the intensity in the film. And I loved every second of the film. The Wild Robot is my number 7. The best animated film of the year, in my opinion. I I love it. It's so good. Number 6 is Abigail. New all-time horror vampire classic. Honestly, I think it's an awesome movie. Late Night with the Devil was a film that, when I saw it in the theater, I thought it was a near perfect film. And honestly, I think maybe the last like 5 minutes of the film kind of fall off just a tiny bit. And also, I don't love the use of the AI for it. It just puts a bad taste in my mouth. But other than that, I think the film's awesome. I love it. Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. This is a film that I think if there was just a little bit better of CGI and green screen, I think this would be a 5 out of 5 movie. It's so good. I love the Mad Max universe, and this is no exception. It's so good. Heretic, with Hugh Grant, honestly might be my favorite performance from him, and one of the best performances of the entire year is him as Mr. Reed. He's so creepy, and I think the movie's awesome. Anora, this is hands down one of the best made movies of the entire year. Sean Baker is not a director I'm super familiar with, but I believe this is actually my first film I've ever seen from him. But this film was absolutely fantastic. You have Mikey Madison in here, who absolutely deserves an Oscar for her role in this film. She's so damn good in this, and it starts off such a funny movie, and kind of starts off where it's like the script is kind of messy, and the filmmaking is kind of just like super colorful and kind of messy at the same time as well. Cinematography and whatnot, just like a wild film from the start. But it reflects just how messy the lives of Yvonne and Anora are in the beginning. And as it moves toward the end of the movie, the color palette gets more gray and dry, and so does their lives. So do their lives. They just get more gray and sad and bleak and depressing. And I think that film is so genius, where even just to the filmmaking you can tell what it's trying to reflect. It's just really cool. Really cool stuff. But my number 1 is a film that I saw in theaters 5 times. Because I actually just started working there after it came out at my theater. And that is Longlegs. This movie, I don't find the movie necessarily scary per se, but I think the film is one of the best horror movies to come out in recent years. I think honestly it is intense from beginning to end. Micah Monroe gives a fantastic performance. Nicolas Cage is so creepy in it, and also so funny. Like, he's so weird and kind of charming, honestly. It's just really, really goofy what he puts into this film. And I love every single second of this film. So good. One of my new favorite films, honestly, ever. I think is a fantastic movie. So yeah, Longlegs comes in at number 1 for me. And thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, let me know down below in the comments and hit the like button. And if you're new here, please subscribe. It would be awesome if you did. And let me know your favorite films and least favorite films of 2024. Just, throw it all out at the comments section. Hope you guys enjoyed the video as always. And I will see you guys in the new year. Peace.